Once upon a time, a beggar in faraway Persia had a bit of good luck for a change. After a fierce flood, the fast-flowing river near the capital city shrank back to its old bed. In the dirt, the beggar saw a sparkling red stone. He picked it up and hurried off to visit one of his friends who worked in the kitchens at the royal palace. "How many dinners would you give me for this shining stone?" he asked. "But this is a ruby!" exclaimed the cook. "You must take it to the Shah at once." The beggar took the stone to the Shah, who asked him, "Where did you find this?" "Lying in the mud on the bank of the river, sire," he said. The Shah said, "I'll give you a bag of gold for this stone." "Sire, this is the most wonderful day of my life," said the beggar, barely able to speak. "My deepest thanks." The Shah called his daughter and said, "This is the biggest ruby I've ever seen. I'll give it to you for your 18th birthday." "It's marvelous," said the daughter. "Thank you so much. I know it will bring me good luck." On his daughter Fatima's birthday, the Shah went to get the ruby from his box of treasures. But when he lifted the lid of the box, he jumped back in surprise, because out stepped a handsome young man who said with a smile, "The ruby you want no longer exists. I've taken its place. I'm the Ruby Prince. Please don't ask me how this miracle took place. It's a secret I can never tell." The Shah said, "I lose a precious gem? Find a prince, and I'm not allowed to ask why?" he roared. "I'm sorry, sire," replied the prince, "but nothing and nobody will make me tell how I got here." Furious at these words, the Shah instantly decided to punish the young man. "Since you've taken the place of my ruby," he thundered, "you are now my servant." "Of course, sire," replied the young man. "Then take my golden sword. I'll reward you with the hand of my daughter Fatima if you succeed in killing the dragon in Death Valley." Many a brave young man had lost his life trying to kill the terrible dragon, and the Shah was quite sure that the Ruby Prince would also die trying. Taking the Shah's sword, the Ruby Prince set off for Death Valley. When he reached the edge of the frighteningly dark forest, he yelled for the dragon to come out, but the only reply was the echo of his own voice. He sat down and was about to fall asleep when the sound of snapping branches brought him to his feet. The terrible dragon was on its way. When it reached the prince, the huge, horrible beast roared. The prince was brave and did not run away. He took a step forward and struck first one heavy blow at the dragon's throat, then another, until at last the monster lay dead at his feet. When he returned to the palace carrying the dragon's head, the Ruby Prince was called a hero. And so, Fatima and the Ruby Prince were married. However, as time passed, Fatima became more and more curious. "I know nothing about you," she complained. "Tell me who you really are." But every time the Ruby Prince heard such remarks, he became pale and said, "I cannot tell you. You shouldn't ask or you'll run the risk of losing me forever." One day, as they sat by the river, Fatima pleaded with him to reveal his secret. The young man replied, "I cannot." But Fatima only begged more. "Oh, please, please tell me." "You know I can't." The Ruby Prince hesitated and replied, "If you really must know, then I'll tell you the secret. At the very second he was about to reveal his secret, a huge wave swept him into the river. The horrified princess cried loudly for her husband, but he had vanished. Fatima called the guards, and even the Shah ran up to comfort her. But the princess became very depressed. One day, her favorite handmaiden hurried up to her. "Your Highness," she exclaimed, "I saw the most amazing thing last night. An array of tiny lights appeared on the river. Then 1,000 little genies draped the riverbank with flowers. Such a handsome young man then began to dance in honor of an old man who seemed to be a Shah. Beside the Shah stood a young man with a ruby on his forehead. I thought he was—" Fatima's heart leaped. Could the young man with the ruby be her husband? That night, the princess and her handmaiden hid behind a tree close to water's edge. On the stroke of midnight, a stately old man with a white beard, dressed in a golden robe and holding a scepter, rose from the water. Fatima recognized her husband as the young man beside the throne. She left her hiding place and gracefully began to dance. Then a voice from the throne. "For such a divine dance, make a wish and it will be granted." "Give me back my husband," said Fatima. "The king of the waters of Persia gave his word. Take back your husband, the Ruby Prince. But do not forget how you lost him and be wiser in the future." And Fatima was a bit wiser from then on.